point and add, remove, or clarify. So that's just my position on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I have a comment.
Mrs.
I want to say thank you to Dr. Johnson for the phenomenal job that you have done since this has happened. You have gone over and beyond. I want to thank you. Am I okay? No, I'm not okay. It's sad when our assistant superintendent, you actually are George Floyd. You actually have that knee in your neck. And many of our staff has the same thing as well as our students. We have gone, there's 2 colleagues that have spoken to this president and told this president what is going on and what his staff has said. And we keep getting, I am not hearing that. And then when we have stated that there's Black staff that wants to leave, yes, it is true. There are Black staff members that are leaving here. We were told, well, when you get a new superintendent, staff changes and leaves. So when we start at the top, then I will turn around and do just that and pass this resolution. And so you cannot sit there and shake your head and say you have not. I have talked to you on several occasions, President, and you have said, no, this is not what you're doing. We have had student after student. I myself and Mr. Johnson has gone over to make sure that the staff, well, those students over at Farmington Central have had good lunches. That school is 99% Black, and majority of them are male students. We have talked to you till we are blue in the face. Ms. Weems has talked to you till she's blue in the face. She, as a board member, had to create an infinity group. But let it be a white staff member. Oh, those are good teachers. Well, Jeffrey Dahmer was a good man too. So at the end of the day, we need to start at the top. And if you can't do it and be unbiased, maybe you should not hold this position as the president. That's been my time.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
This is conversation that, and let me say this. As I stated earlier, not every incident is about race. I've heard Ms. Smith mention a couple of times the teacher that is no longer here. And I'm telling you that this is not about race. I have known Ms. Green and the other board members who are not of color, Ms. Cummings, Mr. Mukamal, Mr. Rich. I have not encountered any of them from the standpoint of being racist or having a tendency to have more white folks do things and leaving people of color or anything, etc. like that. I trust Ms. Green with my kids. I have trusted her when she was a principal over at Hillside. There is no doubt about that, but let's be honest here. We are tied, our hands are tied because we are not allowed to, as a board, speak about a personnel issue. If this teacher in question would give us permission by and through her attorney, and we can have a public discussion on this, I would love to have that because, again, this is not someone that I, based upon the facts and circumstances that have gone on that I am aware of, would leave my children with. And not only do I have children here in my home, I'm also responsible for the 9,500 plus other students in this district. So when we start pointing fingers at each other and we have divisiveness between ourselves, this community is viewing that. And I am very disappointed when people are talking about my colleagues on this board in this community. I may not always agree with Ms. Cummings, Mr. Mukamal, Mr. Rich, Ms. Weems, or Ms. Smith, but you know what? I can just honestly say these people are not racist, and this community should be ashamed of itself for trying to be so divisive in a time where we need to be coming together. Thank you.
Miss Green, I like to say a couple of things.
Can you wait a minute, please, Mrs. Smith? Mrs. Weems was next. Mrs. Weems, you're muted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to, in the spirit of this resolution, draw our attention back to the resolution and hope that our future conversation can be focused on whether it's appropriate to adopt this resolution or delay adopting this resolution. I'd like to, focus the remainder of the conversation on that. Otherwise, I will call the question.
Thank you. Are there any comments, Mrs. Cummings?
So what I'm hearing a little bit of both. I'm hearing, I appreciate Mr. Johnson's comments. It's the spirit of the resolution, and I appreciate what Mr. Rich shared, that he's seen an example and he shared an example of something a little more specific. So it sounds to me like perhaps the board needs a little more time, which is absolutely acceptable. I feel like this is an area where, my impression is we'd like to move quickly, but yet maybe it makes sense to just take a little more time to go through this. And I think that is acceptable too. I just want the public to know that this is important to us. So either way, whichever way this board goes, we're still listening, and we're going to make this work, whether it's adopted, stays in place, adopted, modified, or if we wait to adopt something. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mukamal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I interpret this resolution as a statement, as the board making a statement. I would, there are some things that I'd like to edit with it, but I do think that it's important for us as a board to make a statement about racism in this community and elsewhere. I do not interpret this resolution as necessitating included action steps, because I think that we have an assistant superintendent of equity and inclusion in Dr. Johnson. He has a team of 7 people, including Mr. Weeks, and I look forward to seeing the plans that they develop and the initiatives that they take that will guide us in the district's behavior to improve that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Smith, I believe you had something to add.
I sure do. First and foremost, I never said anything about not having Miss Cummings or anyone else. When you show me who you are, I will believe you. Ms. Cummings has been consistent through this whole process with Oakland School Board's Board of Directors. I have had each and every one of them reach out to me. I've only had 2 on this board, not to mention when I did speak to our board president. I understand, your and it's not about you being a racist. I'm not saying any of you are racist, but you don't get it. You don't get where we are. And as far as going public about what happened with the situation with the teacher that was let go, I would love to have an independent investigation without everyone else involved, because there's some stories that are not adding up. You've got a teacher that put her hands on a student that still did not report it. still did not report it. That child was moved to another school, and that teacher still has a job. And then a few months later, which by this child was an African American, and now we have a student, that a situation with an African American teacher, and nothing was done. When were we going to be told about the Tasmanian devil situation over at East Middle School that tore that school community to shreds? Staff was against staff. So at the end of the day, I respect Miss Weems. I respect Miss Cummings. As a matter of fact, Mr. Mukamal reached out to me and asked, what could we do? And I agree, and I'm not doing statements. I need action. We need action. We are sitting here and allowing these African American students and students of color be treated like trash. Now, I don't care who don't like me. I'm not here to be on the bandwagon. I don't ride wagons. And I love riding solo. But at the end of the day, I'm here for these children. I am here for this staff. You got staff members that are terrified. We did a dialogue with Dr. Johnson. And I had a teacher sitting in there crying, scared to return back to school. Now, I don't know what you're hearing, but I'm hearing it. And I'm saying it again. I want an investigation, an independent investigation, not including Dr. Herrera, not including this board, not including HR. I want facts and the truth. Since we don't want to call it a race issue. We got a lot of things we got to do, and we got to do it right now. And why are we rushing to do this? You didn't rush to do it the day that George Floyd had a knee in his neck. So now we got to buy the gift to shut the Black community up. And I take offense to board members saying that I'm stirring the pot and that me and Ms. Weems are out there talking. That teacher's been in this community since she was in 5th grade. I told the president if that teacher was removed, that this community was going to be up in arms, and they are. Not only are they up in arms because of that, then you had the climate of this country with Black men being shot and Black women being shot. So I'm glad that you're giving me and Ms. Weems all this power. We have done nothing but try to speak the truth. And now you're going to turn around and make this and make somebody feel bad. I don't feel bad for speaking up. You want me off this board, I'll gladly leave because I do not want to serve with those that don't want to do right by all children.
Thank you.
Ms. Green, you have made it point blank and clear. Your son is a police officer. That's a choice. I wake up every morning to this color. That ain't a choice.
Mrs. Smith, I'm going to ask point of order right now. What my family is has no bearing on this.
Well, neither does mine, and neither does these children in this district. And you have shown as a board president that you cannot be unbiased. I have come to you more
Point of order.
and more. Point of order is nothing. I don't care.
We shouldn't make personal attacks. We should not make personal attacks.
That's not a personal attack, and you've been doing it all night.
Board members,
You have been doing it all night.
Making
You have done it all night.
to one another. Thank you. Are there any additional comments or questions from board members?